One of the things about week 2 of our course is that in week 1, a lot of you are sort of getting used to the class and we're just getting started. And in a traditional classroom, like a semester-long course, you know, you really wouldn't do much the first few weeks, but you've noticed that we do a lot in the first 2 weeks. And by the time we're at the end of this week on Sunday, we will literally be at the half point in our course. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on your due dates. And we have several things to go over today. Let me see here. Our announcements are basically just welcome. Hey, keep up the good work on the discussion boards. I've really enjoyed reading your comments on that and your back and forth discussions about the post. I always enjoy that. On your assignments, be sure to give good explanatory answers on each question. Just in general, on the short answer questions, I'm normally looking for about 3 to 5 sentences per question. So if you're doing an assignment and you've given a 1-sentence response, that's probably not enough. Be sure and explain a little more. The reason is in an online environment, that's my only way of judging if you're reading the content and understanding the content. So I always tell people, don't be afraid to over-explain. I don't even think that's a word, but over-explain things a little bit, so that I can grade you a little bit better, okay? It's better to type too much than too little, basically. And of course, this week we're going to be talking about the final project. So let's go ahead and hop into that. Just to recap really quick, remember your final project needs to deal with your core program, whatever you're majoring in. There's several resources listed on our My Course Connection course page that tell you a little more about business plans, because you are going to be building a basic business plan. If you look at the rubric, it is a great guide for putting together, if you're using PowerPoint or if you're using Google Slides, you might put one item per slide would be a great setup. Please do keep it in the same order. And today, this is one of our funnest questions, our funnest lectures, I feel, because we talk about naming your business, and it's a great process that maybe you've never thought about before. And also, we're going to talk about your type of formation today. Okay, and real quick, let me see. Taylor, a question about the business plan. Fantastic. Okay, got it. So what industry are you currently in? And then we can kind of go from there. Hi, Jennifer. Like in most cases, I'm going to say it's probably okay, Taylor, but I'd like to know what you specifically built your intro to marketing plan around. And if we could somehow tie that into your core, that's the most important thing there. No problem, Jennifer, no problem. Okay, so while Tyler's checking that out, we're going to go ahead and hop on to our next page. So we're going to talk about naming your company today and the type of formation. So I want you to think about that. In week 1, you had kind of a mini goal. You were to choose your product or service that relates to your core. What do you sell? How does it benefit your customers? What is the product life cycle? And you're also supposed to go to the suggested websites on building a business plan. So were any of you able to accomplish this? Did you at least choose your product or service. Yes? Fantastic. Okay, great, great, because this is where you start and this is what everything else is built around. Once you have this sort of solidified, then you're ready to go in the different directions you need to. Okay, I've got 3 yeses. Okay, that's awesome. All right, so your mini goal for week 2 then, if you've accomplished your mini goal for week 1, your mini goal for week 2 is to come up with your company name and your type of formation. And we're going to talk about the 4 basic types of formations today during our lecture: sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, and limited liability company, which is often abbreviated as LLC. Okay, and you may get a little bit of this accomplished during this lecture, in fact. Okay, a few unique business names that work. Google. The name started as a joke about the amount of information the search engine could search, or a Google of information. A Google is the number 1 followed by 100 zeros. We probably don't use that very often in everyday life. But a misspelling on the check by the investor resulted in the spelling Google, G-O-G-G-L-E. So just that one mistake, that misspelling, changed the way it looked, and I think in a positive way. Do you guys think G-O-O-G-O-L looks kind of strange? I just can't imagine it not being G-O-O-G-L-E. So it's one of those fate things that this common name that we see almost every day in our life now has a little bit of a switch. Coca-Cola's name came from the coca leaves. Coca-Cola's name comes from the coca leaves and the cola nuts used as flavoring in the soft drink. Eventually, Coca-Cola creator John S. Pemberton changed the K of the cola to a C to create a more fluid name. So in the beginning, it had a K in it as well. And I think the double C's are a lot more pleasing to look at. They sort of flow together a little bit more. Hi, Katie. Goodness, we got a lot of people in here today. If we're not careful, we're going to exceed our Blackboard limit. And you just got back from work. I think a lot of people are either coming from, going to, or maybe on their lunch period, right? Okay, IKEA is another funny one. IKEA is a random collection of letters. It uses the first letters of founder, and I never know how to say the name there, Ingvar Kamprads' name, and the first letters of the Swedish property in the village where he grew up in. So Ingvar Kamprad, Elmchard, Anginyard. I have no idea how to say that, but all of those words and names make up the term IKEA. And now, again, that's a product or a name that we instantly recognize. IKEA. Okay, so with naming your business, right, you could use a business naming firm, and in about 6 months and $80,000, they will come up with a name for your business. I don't think any of us have that type of change on us. So that's maybe not a reality for this course, but you could also create your own. That's what we're going to do. So let's talk about some different ways you might be able to create your own. Or maybe some of you now want to go into the business naming business, right? You can maybe do that. Make a lot of money. I know. The more your name communicates to consumers about your business, the less effort you must exert to explain your business. And I know you've probably ran into this before. Good examples: the muffler shop, a good basic name. You know exactly what they do. It's specific. Facebook, 2 syllables. We wouldn't have known 10 years ago necessarily what that means, but nowadays we do. You see your face on the computer, Facebook. If it starts with an A, it will generally be at the top of a list, and when I say list, I kind of mean phone book. old-fashioned phone books. But some people do still use phone books. And if you're talking to anyone over about the age of, I don't know, 40, 50, 60, they have phone books in their house and they use them. So this can be a great thing to consider. When you go on the internet to do a search, we generally put in their name and here it pops up the information. Or if you type in the name of a product or service, you get suggestions, but the ones that have paid more money are going to be the ones that are listed first. So that can sometimes not work with that. Do not use strings of numbers or initials because these don't really convey anything about your business. H&T products, you have no idea what the product is. 1, 2, 3, let's go. The where. What are we talking about here? My brother had, he worked at a massage school, and in fact the school where he got his license through, and they changed their name after they moved a few blocks down the road. Of course, they had a lot of regular clients follow them to that new location, but their new name did not convey what they did, and he said that he could really see a drop in sales. It was more of an artistic name, and it didn't convey that they were a massage school still, and that they also took clients from many walks of life from off the street, you know. So he personally saw this happen, how a name change can make a big impact. The name should be broad and meaningful. Avoid location names and specific products. Now here's the thing, a bad idea might be Tulsa laptops. Because what if you want to expand to other towns? Maybe you want to open up something in Oklahoma City, or maybe you want to open up something in another state, Kansas City. Someplace else, Tulsa laptops isn't really going to go along with you. And laptops is a specific product. Now, if this is the only thing you work on, okay, you might consider that. A better name might be computer experts. It doesn't include a specific location, and it includes that word experts. And when we see that word, we think, yep, they're experts. That's where we need to go. It's what our brain does to us. So when you guys are thinking up your names, I want you to kind of, you know, a great idea is either get out a sheet of paper or get on Word or Notepad and start typing in ideas for the name for your business, for this business plan. You might have a list of 10, 20, 30 different names using the product that you're selling, keeping it short, avoiding initials, of course, and ask other people what they think about it. This is how you test drive it. Ask your spouse, ask your significant other, ask family, your children, which name they like the best, because this can really help you out. Sometimes you might have a name that you're like, oh, that's fantastic, and everybody else hates it. It should be easy to pronounce and easy to remember. So a bad Mojonticus and better Mojo BMX Racing. So it tells us Mojo, kind of a fun name, BMX, what they're doing, racing. Okay? So, and the other one, you have no idea. How do I pronounce that and what do they do? Make sure the name and domain is available. Now here's a thing to check out. Not for this business plan for this course, but if you were specifically opening your own business, you would want to see if the name is available. Here's a couple links within this presentation, or you could copy this down at the bottom of the page specifically for Oklahoma. You can check and see if that name is already taken. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. And it's always great to have the name of your business in your website name. A great example, Walmart.com, Target.com, JCPenney.com. It's their specific name followed by .com. So it's going to be very easy for your customers to remember that. This is a place where you don't want to get real creative, is in your domain name. And also the same thing goes with your emails as well, your email setup. Let me see. Here's a few examples for those of you that are on larger devices. These are different names for a cleaning company. It was kind of a brainstorming session. I want you to look at this list and tell me over in the chat box what are some names that you don't really like. Tell me the names that are a no to you right off the bat. Mighty Tidy. Merely, the only thing I can think of on that one is Tidy Whities. Cow Living doesn't really say what they're doing. I agree, I do. Iris Essence. It's hard to say, Jennifer. You're right. That's a good one. It is Elegant Elements. You're right. And 2 people picked that one. It doesn't say what they do, does it? Certainly not. Any other ones that you don't like? Divicity. Yes. Wexpin. What is that one, Shawnee? Exactly. I don't like Cleanifornia either. Like daisies. Bling Sparkle is another one that I don't really like that. Okay, so the name Dirtless. Yes. Loungeack sounds like they're not doing anything, that they might be a little lazy. You don't know. So you have to think of all the things people might think about your name. So the one that they liked, that they took, was Pickup Artist, and I kind of like that. It's kind of catchy because you're picking up the house, and then beneath it, so we're stating exactly what we are as well. It says cleaning company. You're not going to confuse it with anything shady. Pickup Artist, cleaning company. So if that big sign is on the road and somebody's driving down the road, they're going to know what you do. Yeah, Bling Sparkle, Jennifer, that's another one. Are there any other ones on this list that you like? Do you see any other ones that you think, yeah, that might work? We Got This, Cleaners, kind of catchy. Let me see. Boy, there's just not many. I kind of like Spotless Spaces. Oh, and Christine just put that one up. I kind of like that one, and again specifically if they put cleaning company right below it. True Spotless is okay. Yep. True Spotless, cleaning company again. Yep. Clutterbugged that's kind of cute. I don't know. That could be a maybe. So you get the idea, right? Polishing Posse. Yes, Brandy. I want you to do the same thing now with your business plan, company name. Come up with all these different ones. It doesn't have to be as pretty as this one is. It could just be on a plain sheet of paper and brainstorming. And it's good to have another brain to work with you as well. You don't have to come up with them all on your own. It's always funner in a group, right? So write down all these ideas, bounce them off people, and go from there. So I don't know if any of you have thought about this already, but does anyone already have their business name picked? You do. Is anybody ready to share their business name? MK. Okay, so the M is your first name. What's the K, Marilee? Accounting. Let me get that little symbol there. Wrong one. and tax. So you've got an abbreviation in there, but now you've defined your company by saying accounting and tax, so they're going to know what you want to do. Oh, the M is your son's last name, and the K is his first name. Okay, gotcha, gotcha. See, I knew there was a meaning in there. Gotcha. Okay, and Shawnee, I'm marketing. My company name was, is it Pepper? I always worry that I'm not saying names right. Cardiovascular Clinic. Again, it's really great that you have your name in there and that you're describing in the name what you do. I hope I don't murder cardiovascular. I don't have spell check on here. There you go. Fantastic. Anybody else? Does anybody else have a name that they've come up with already? That's a good start. As a business owner, I had a few different, a couple different entrepreneurial type companies. I had Greenacre, Getaway, Pet Boarding Services. So we took care of dogs, cats, one time a duck, and one time we boarded 2 wallabies as well. So we had Greenacre Getaway, and then I had a cleaning business called Naturally Clean, where I made all my products from all natural products. Exactly, Eloise. Somebody had to board a duck. They had a pet duck and no place to take them. So the duck would come stay with us. He stayed with us 2 years, and they brought his swimming pool with him. He did great. Oh, Katie, you're so right. I've noticed that as well, that a lot of the new learning centers have the term adventure in there to make it sound exciting, right? Early learning adventure. I like that. Good idea. All right, guys. So those of you that do not have a business name yet, start working towards that. If you're unsure, send me an email, okay? And we'll go from there, because you get this name set, you get your type of business set, you get your service or product, and you are just halfway there, almost. You're on the way. Okay, let's talk about the 4 basic types of business ownership, because you're going to need to pick one of these for your business plan. So this is how you're setting up your business. Is it going to be a sole proprietorship? Let me get my pointer out here. A sole proprietorship, a partnership. Oh, you have one too. More Than Hair Cosmetology. Hey, good idea. Because I'm assuming you may be doing nails too, eyebrows, pedicures. There's all these things that can go along with that as well. Yeah. Corporation, limited liability company. So we're going to talk about different ones. The whole shebang. That's great. Okay, first, let's look at how it's broke down. The net income by form of ownership. I want you to look at the similarities and differences of these 2 different exhibits. So exhibit 6.1, you'll see that sole proprietorships or single owner businesses account for almost 72% of businesses out there. Right? So about 72% of the businesses out there are sole proprietorships. 18% are corporations, 9.7% are partnerships. Now, if we hop over here to the other side, you'll notice this is total net income by form of corporation. So which one is pulling the most money? Corporations at 65.6%. Sole proprietorships are about 10% of the net income, and partnerships earn about 24.4%. So what we see from these is that there's a lot more sole proprietorships in the country, but the corporation setup is kind of where the big bucks are, because they are larger businesses. They're not in one town, maybe on Main Street. These are a corporation. So examples, we've got McDonald's all over the world. We've got Walmarts all over the country. So those are pulling in a lot more dollars. Okay, real quick, the sole proprietorships. Some of the advantages are that they're easy to form, retain control, you have pride in owning your own business. This is yours. You retain the profits, and there's also some possible tax advantages. Now, some of the disadvantages, the only financial resource you have is you. You don't have investors, you don't have a partner. There's also unlimited liability if something goes wrong. Limited ability to attract and maintain talented employees, because sometimes those corporations pull them away with their bigger pay. Heavy workloads and responsibilities, and sometimes there's a lack of permanence, that they may not be there for the long haul. On the workload and the responsibilities, if you've ever owned your own business, you know it's all on you. If you take that day off, you're the one having to make it up, right? Okay, general partnerships. This is where you've got two people owning a business. Advantages, you've got two sources of money. You've got shared responsibilities, maybe a little less stressful. Ease of formation, again, similar to the sole proprietorship. And you've got some tax advantages. Disadvantages, that liability is still there, but this time it's for two people instead of just one. Disagreements can definitely arise between partners. Lack of continuity, what if one of them decides to get out of the business? There may be some difficulty in withdrawing from that agreement. So not quite as simple as sole proprietorship. Corporations, moving on up the ladder. Limited liability as far as advantages go. Permanence, they've maybe or maybe not been around a long time. Easy to transfer ownership, because it's like selling a piece of land almost. Ability to, except a lot more complex. Ability to raise capital, specialized management, more workers. Disadvantage, expenses, double taxation, because you're being taxed as a corporation and then also as an individual. Since it's separate, it's almost like a being of its own. There's a little more paperwork, complications when operating in more than one state, because each state has their way of doing things. Lawyers are fantastic when this comes into effect, and there can be some conflicts of interest. Now, the fourth one is called a limited liability company, and I like how they labeled it a new kid on the block. This is a relatively new hybrid type of setting up a business. So it's sort of like a little bit corporation and a little bit sole proprietorship or partnership. It merges kind of the best of both worlds. You have the limited liability that you would have a corporation. It can be used as a tax pass-through. It is simplified management and operation, and it's a little more flexible as far as the ownership goes. Disadvantages, a little bit harder to set up. You don't just start your business like you do with a sole proprietorship. You may have franchise taxes, depending on how you're operating it. Foreign status in other states, again, like a corporation. Limited to select industries. There's a little more control in this area. And again, you get into some of the state law differences. So what we find here with the limited liability company, the main things are that it protects you a little more as far as liability goes, but it's a little bit harder to form. Those are kind of the main two things. So 4 different types of business. So let's look at a few different businesses here. Now, just a review real quick. Sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, or LLC. If you were setting up a t-shirt screen printing business, what type of formation do you think would be best for that? And there's actually a few different answers you could have. Maybe a partnership, right? For me, it would be I need someone else for that creative side to be able to do those. Or possibly an LLC, Jennifer, yes. And I bet there may be one more coming up here. Sole proprietorship. Yeah. Actually, those are the 3 things that definitely come to mind on that one. You think of more of a small business with this. Restaurant could be very similar here. You're in the restaurant business, and I want you to think about what you're doing. You're feeding the public. You're dealing with food. How would you set up a restaurant? As a corporation, maybe, yes. Because of the liability issue is mainly what's coming in there, right? Maybe a corporation, or maybe, let's see what Jennifer comes up with. Or sole proprietorship. No, sole proprietorship, you have quite a bit of liability. I would, on a restaurant, go with corporation, which is kind of hard to do just starting out, but I would definitely choose LLC in that instance. What if somebody gets food poisoning? What if somebody slips and falls? There's lots of things that can happen there. Okay, beauty salon. What would be a good choice for beauty salon? Partnership? Oh, well, definitely Marilee, right? Or LLC or sole? Yeah, I think any of those would be good things. If you were the sole owner, you could then rent the booth. If you were in it with another partner, you could each have an area. So, yeah, partnership or LLC for the protection again. Yeah. Okay, landscaping. You're working on other people's yards, might be trimming some trees and doing the grass, you might be doing beautiful landscapes. Sole, partnership, or LLC. I think all those are pretty good choices. I'm going to lean towards LLC again on landscaping though, because what if you're cutting that tree down and it falls on the house, or a limb causes some damage, or maybe you dug in the yard in a spot and you didn't know there were underground sprinklers there. Lots of very expensive problems that could arise, and it's good to have a little protection. And lastly, auto repair. LLC, yeah. LLC, everybody thinks LLC on that one too. You know, I think that would be best as well. I do. Especially we're dealing with cars, and those can be very high dollar, right? Okay, so you guys get the idea. For different businesses, there may be different choices, and for different businesses, there may be, you know, you could choose all 4. And here's the deal: if your business expanded, would you change your form? Chances are, let's say you started off as an LLC as a restaurant, then you opened up some change. You may definitely move to a corporation from that, or maybe you started a auto repair franchise. So the more complex it gets, the better the business type needs to be to help control and contain. Very good. And we're at the end of our lecture, guys. We've covered a little bit about the final project. We've covered picking your business name, and we've talked about the 4 basic types of business partnership. So I want you to focus on that week 2 mini goal of choosing your name and choosing your type of business structure, okay? And does anyone have any questions right now? No? Well, if you don't have any questions, you're welcome to get on with your day. If you do have some questions, you're welcome to stick around and ask them. I'm fine either way. Have a good day, Jennifer. You guys stay out of this hot Oklahoma sun. I hope no one's having to work out in it today. Thank you, Marilee. Thank you, Katie. Have a good rest of your week, and of course, contact me if you have any questions, all right? Oh, you're headed back to work. Well, hey, you could send it to me through email if you need to, Alois. That'd be fine. Okay, great, great. I'll be watching for it, okay? Have a good rest of your day.